Sgt. Pepper was one of the most complex albums that the Beatles ever produced. Its mixing, recording, and writing were all grand in scale. After climbing such a mountain, it would have made sense to go back to basics with a more stripped down sound. Paul McCartney felt, however, that lightning could strike twice, and just 4 days after completing Sgt. Pepper, they had written and recorded the title track for their next album, Magical Mystery Tour. In addition to the four members, the track also features a trumpet section and Neil Aspinall and Mal Evans. Paul came up with the idea on an airplane flight, and while he was enthusiastic about it, the others were drained from the previous record. This resulted in him and John coming up with the lyrics, which were inspired by their times at fairs and circuses as children. Paul said, "I used to go to the fairgrounds as a kid, the waltzers, the dodgems, but what interested me was the freak shows, the boxing booths, the bearded lady, and the sheep with 5 legs. So much of your writing comes from this period, your golden memories. If I'm stuck for an idea, I can always think of a great summer, think of a time when I went to the seaside." A similar concept, at least in the form of an introduction, would be used for the Rolling Stones track Shiza Rainbow, which would be recorded and released around the same time. In the recording of this track, the band mostly improvised and continued to layer track after track onto the piece. Paul had an idea for the trumpets, but even with George Martin's help, he couldn't notate it. This apparently frustrated one of the musicians so much, he just wrote something that eventually ended up being used in the track. John recorded an intro that Paul would later duplicate for the final version. John also recorded a spoken section for the song that would be included in the film version. The song would be mixed in both mono and stereo, rather than converting one to the other. Probably my favorite version of this track is the one that Cheap Trick did a cover of. You can listen to it below. It does its purpose as a great opening track, preparing the audience for a fantastic psychedelic journey where the wheels might just fly off. Speaking about the second track on the record, Fool on the Hill, John said, "Now that's Paul, another good lyric." Paul began working on the song not too long after he and John had written with a little help from my friends. The idea of a man seeming a fool to everyone else, but in fact being wise, was taken from the critics of the Maharishi. Paul hammered out a rough version of the song for John, who thought what he came up with was good enough without his input. Paul created a piano demo that would be the foundation for this track. This version would see an official release on Anthology 2. You can listen to that below as well. In recording the track, the band layered many instruments on top of one another. In addition to their normal instruments, the band added harmonicas, mouth harp, finger cymbals, and recorder. For this sequence in the film, Paul was filmed running around in France while the track played. This track would also be remixed for Love, but wouldn't see a release until the album was available digitally on iTunes. It would mix in elements of Octopus's Garden, Mother Nature's Son, and I Am the Walrus. This is just one of those great simple tracks that the group produced. It's just perfect for putting on, laying back, and watching the world spin around. The content on this channel is made possible from viewers like you. Help the channel grow by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.